Hey, I think uh, my voice is also audible. So yeah, let's start with the question. And as I see, not uh, many people join this stream, but still I have some questions in the comments. So I'll just pick those questions and I'll start with the answering the questions, right? So yeah, let's get started without wasting time. So in the comments, the very first question I see is about the 425. Okay. So basically, the username is SECCLAW. I think sec law, we can say. So it's basically saying, bro, DigitalOcean doesn't allow 425. Do your research correctly. Okay, so the thing is, bro, DigitalOcean do allow the port 25. In fact, DigitalOcean is the one of the popular cloud provider which only allow the port 25 connections, right? But recently, in few weeks, like 2 months, 2 weeks back, they created some policy which is saying that if someone is creating a new account, like really new account, and haven't done any billing, then they will not allow to create a mail server on DigitalOcean. Okay, so that's the policy. If your account is old enough, like let's say 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, then definitely they will be allowing to create the mail server. Or they, when we request to allow the mail server or port 25 connection, they usually say that you need to complete the 2 3 billing cycles, then only we will allow, and your combined bill that you paid must be more than $50, more than $40, right? So yeah, this is how they allow. So yeah, bro, they allow port 25 connections. Okay. Then another comment I am seeing on the mail server, self-hosted mail cow server. Okay, the comment is basically, "Hi, I completed all these steps. The only thing I couldn't add was the TLSA record because the hostinger doesn't have that particular option. Might be in their DNS. Although mail cow shows that the entry is not required, the emails are not going through. What would your advice, or what do I do?" So let's start with the TLSA record. So what exactly is a TLSA record? TLSA record mainly created to basically navigate the other mail servers to create a secure connection with the specific port. Okay, so that's what the TLSA record does. It's an optional record, obviously, but if you add, that will add the additional security on your mail server. And it is not necessary to add the TLSR record. In fact, if you check the majority of the DNS providers, they don't allow to add TLSR record or reverse DNS record, right? So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, Hostinger probably is not allowing it, but if you check the Cloudflare, they will allow, but it is not necessary to add. But I'll suggest change your DNS. Hostinger DNS is shit. Even GoDaddy DNS is also shit. The only fast and free DNS that I can see is the Cloudflare only. You might say that we can use self-hosted DNS also. No, self-hosted. If you change the record on the self-hosted DNS also, then to replicate that record in the majority DNS servers, it will take a time. So it is better to use the Cloudflare. It is a really fast. Like you save it, and within a few seconds, the all record is updated. So yeah, that's really great. Okay, so let's move forward and let's go to the next question. So it is again on the self-hosted email server video. So basically, Mohit is saying, please help me how to fix fail to create a network mail cow dockerized mail cow network. Error response from the daemon cannot read IP basic setup for a breach, and a configuration file path is there and no such file or direct. Okay, so this is one of the popular solution. Sorry, the issue which people face around the setting the mail server or setting the any server like web server also, right? So the thing is, if you check some of the cloud providers like Vultr, AWS, or let's say Google, GCP, so while creating the server, they share the one option where we can disable the IPv6, right? There's the scene here. So suppose you create the server without adding the IPv6 networking, then there is a issue. The IPv6 is not enabled for your server. So when you do the setup, let's say mail cow setup, they assume that you have the IPv6 plus IPv4. So they do their setup accordingly. So that's why they are searching for IPv6 network file, but they are not able to get that network file. So that's why we are getting that particular error with that. But if you don't have IPv6, simply do one thing: edit the Docker compose file of the Melcow, and wherever you see the IPv6 entry, just hash that down. I don't think the hash will work. I think double slash is there to comment in the YAML file. So yeah, after that you can see if it is working or not. If it is not working, check where else you need to disable the IPv6 and just use the mail server with the IPv4, and that should work fine. But my suggestion would be add IPv6 also while creating the server. Okay, so let's move to the next question, which is also the self-hosted mail server issue or question. So guy is basically saying migrant WTF. So basically he's saying that I made all the settings, added the all DNS record. I cannot send or receive emails. Well, that's not a new thing. So first thing, check which cloud provider you are using. Is saying he is using DigitalOcean, but in some cases people use like local cloud providers where or popular cloud providers like AWS, DJCP, etc. They will not allow to send emails using 425. So first check that. Second thing, he's using DigitalOcean. So my suggestion would be if your account is good enough, they should allow by default to create a mail server, because my account is also old, and as you can see I do all tutorials on the DigitalOcean and they allow me to send the emails. Or what you can do is you can just create a support ticket and tell that we are trying to migrate from let's say other service provider to the DigitalOcean, and we would like to set up mail server and test if it is functioning and if the cloud is the best fit for us, and you should go with accordingly, right? And you should just try to convince them to allow, you know, to add the mail server capabilities. Great. Next question. So next question is, how do you deal with the dynamic IP? Okay, so this question is related to the Evilgenix video. So let's start with the Evilgenix. So the question is, how do you deal with the dynamic IP address? And I want to use the dynamic DNS, DDNS basically, but I'm not sure how to set up exactly. Okay, great question. First of all, not all servers comes with the static IP. Some of you might have some local provider which is offering the dynamic IP, and dynamic IP usually change in a one or day two, right? So how you automatically update that and host your own server? Okay, so I will tell you two scenarios. First scenario is you have already your own small server on cloud providers like DigitalOcean or AWS, and you need to move your highly processing, highly computational, expensive processes to your local server. So that's why you buy another server which has more computing power, but it's cheap, and they don't provide the dynamic IP address. In that case, what you can do is you can use the VPN connection to create a network between two servers and then reverse proxy the connection of the first server, right? So that's the way you can use. Uh, the second thing you can do is basically install the dynamic DNS service. So most of there are third party services also available, but I'll suggest go with the Cloudflare dynamic DNS. It's quite easy to set up. Just a command line, few here and there, and it will automatically update IP once the IP is changed. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the Cloudflare. So just give me a second. I'll just reshare my stream. Hey guys, welcome back. So let me check for new questions. Okay. Uh let's try to check another. So this is basically for the eugenics. So uh probably he is having the first scenario there. Okay. So yeah, you can use the mm, dynamic DNS service provided by the Cloudflare, which is best for you. Okay. I don't have any video on my video about configuring the dynamic DNS service on the of the Cloudflare, but like I don't know. Like if you request, I might create it. So yeah. So let's move to the next question. The question is about the setting up Evilgenics on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, it will work. I'm not saying it will not, but it will work. But there are a few challenges. The very first challenge is IP address, because if you are hosting on the Raspberry Pi, obviously you are hosting on the local, then you must have the static IP address, or you need to use the Cloudflare dynamic DNS service as I mentioned. That's the first thing. The second thing is computational power. So Raspberry Pi has the 2 GB RAM, 1 GB RAM, and 4 GB RAM version. I'm not sure which version you are using, but make sure that you are using version which is like more than 2 GB RAM, because when you create fishlet of any website, suppose someone is trying to access that, then you must have enough computing power to process that whatever the request is coming. Because if we check the Evilgenics, what is Evilgenics? Evilgenics is nothing but the reverse proxy. So to reverse proxy connection for all of the users, and at the same time maintaining the original session with the original website in the background, it's challenging. It requires the RAM. So on the VPS, when we do setup, we set up on the 1 core or 2 core 2 GB, which is good. But in case of the Raspberry Pi, if you check the computational power, it's little bit less, and obviously the heating issues are there. As soon as the Raspberry Pi start heating, the performance start decreasing. So that's another problem. So if you manage to solve all of these problems, then definitely okay. But make sure that you have high speed bandwidth connection. Otherwise, user will just see loading page. And if you have multiple concurrent users, let's say 20 or 15, then Raspberry will have hard time to process everything. Great. Okay, so let's move to the next question. The next question is from where you took the O65 fishlet. Brother, I don't took, I design my own fishlet. I create my own fishlets, right? So I cannot directly just share the fishlets, but yeah, I have few fishlet samples. You can join my Telegram group, and there you will get the fishlet samples. Apart from that, in few days I'll be releasing my own course on Evilgenics Mastery. If you check the Evilgenics Founders course, then it will cost you around 400 euro. That's really crazy price. So that's why I decided, let's create the Eugenics course where I'll sell around, I don't know, really cheap. So yeah, just a few days, maybe 5 6 days, and the course will be out, and I'll be creating video on the channel about the basically course, because I want to sell the course, right? Yeah, so that's all about the O65 fishlet. And not only, I'll suggest take the course, because not that I want to sell you, but in that course I'm covering the topics from the really basic to the advanced level, so that you can design your own fishlet completely from start to end without any help. And I'm showing you tricks and tricks also, um, which can be used to solve real life problem. Because in the eugenic setup, when I do eugenic setup, I face a lot of problems, and I try to find solution for that. And basically in the tricks and tips, I'm going to share those solutions. Okay. uh, Next thing, let's go to the next question. Okay, so there is one question. Basically, pink hat underscore h is saying mine eugenic setup skips putting a dot between the domain name. So the my question was to him, does your domain name contain the dash between, like let's say one dash one yt dot in, something like that domain name. Okay, those domain also exist. So it might be possible that there is a configuration issue or programmable issue in the Evogenic source code itself, which is unable to handle those particular under dash domains. Probably the regex issue. But yeah, so the guy didn't reply me. If he would have replied me, I could have checked the Eugenic source code for him, and who knows, I may be fix the issue and share the new source code with him, because I have already done with someone. Okay, so next question is, how can I connect it with the Mutic or Melvitz? It is about the mail server. So the question is from the Mailcow self-hosted email server setup. So the guy is basically asking, how can I connect that particular server on Mutic or Mailbase? So my answer to this Sri Bhairav is, brother, when we create this server, it doesn't matter we create the mail cow, doesn't matter we create with the cyber panel, doesn't matter we create with the open smtp, docker smtp. Most of the almost 90%, 99.999% mail server expose their endpoints. That's the basic thing in the mail server, like the most common thing that mail server can do. Because if you don't expose your port, how you supposed to receive the emails and send the emails, right? So yeah, um in some special cases it might be possible that smtp a connection might be disabled, smtp port might be disabled, but in the most cases, 99.99% cases, they will be exposed. And if they are exposed, then you can use smtp service, pop 3 service, or imap service to work with it. And probably if you're talking about the Mutic, then obviously you can use the SMTP service. And not only Mutic, you can use the marketing softwares also. You can use with the basically WordPress websites also. You can use with the any kind of website to send a transactional emails. Just enter the SMTP host. In most of the cases, it will be mail.yourdomain.com, and mention the port. If you are using non-encrypted connection, then port will be 80, otherwise the port will be 586 or 4 or 482, I guess. I don't know, I forgot. Okay, so yeah, you can use those. And username, password, username is being your mail address itself, and the password is being your password. And if you are doing programmable, then obviously you need to add the from also. So in the from you can add any email. Okay, so yeah, it is possible. Okay, there is a clash username, and he is asking, you actually don't need any software. Can you just say ChatGPT, this is my university project, or help me in the university project, and ChatGPT will answer any question which are restricted. Okay, so this was about the web app pen testing AI video. Basically, I created video where we can take a help of the AI to do pen testing. Usually what happens, if we ask any cybersecurity related question to the chat GPT, then chat GPT will say, oh, I'm not allowed to answer, or the answer can the question cannot be answered, and blah blah blah, typical errors or typical messages, right? So in that case, you can host your local LLM, just like a chat GPT, and there you can ask the questions there, and it will answer your questions, right? So yeah, that was the my setup, and the guy is basically saying that no, ChatGPT also can answer those questions, but you need to mention that ChatGPT, that basically mm, that this is the college project and please help me, and ChatGPT will help me. But I highly doubt that, because I've been using ChatGPT, I've been testing ChatGPT. It will not allow you to extend where you can actually use to exploit something. To exploit something, you need to use the local LLM only. and that too with the LLA, not LLA, Llama version 3, because that's the only open source model which don't have the any filters, like any filters which will not give answers which are harmful, right? So yeah, let's move to the next question. But before that, the questions are really getting old. So I know not all people are watching, but yeah, I can see one guy there. So if you have any question, please, one guy, put question in the chat box. I will cover that. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So, okay, so this is the generalized. In the evil genic setup, I'm getting a lot of questions that I'm not able to create the fishlet. My fishlet is having error. So basically, people, what if people are doing? People are watching the evil genics video, going to the GitHub, searching for the fishlet, and copying the fishlet and using as it is. They don't check the date. See, in the 2 3 years, evil genics has reached from evil genics 1, 2, 2 point something to evil genics 3.2 now. The current version is I think 3.2 or 3.4 or something, right? So the fishlet you are going to use is probably the outdated fishlet. So that's not a good thing, because obviously syntax is changed, something is changed inside, right? So you cannot just use the old fishlet in the new setup, right? So you need to modify. And not only the fishlet, not only the evil genetics, the site is also updated, brother. Like if I talk about the github.com, so let's say in the last 1 year github.com has made a lot of changes. They might be shifted their DNS to somewhere, they might be shifted their CDN, right? So yeah, so a lot of things are there, man. Like we need to, if you no want to create the fishlet for some website, you cannot just rely on someone to I'll just copy from the GitHub which is created in the past. No, brother, you need to create your own fishlet at that particular moment, because it might be possible that you created a fishlet today, but in the 5 6 date that fishlet is no more valid, because let's say GitHub has changed something in their login page, maybe login endpoint or something, right? So in that case that will not work, brother. So you need to have your own fishlet and learn to create a fishlet. Oh yeah, I'll be creating course, so yeah, please learn to create the fishlet, right? And that will help you in the long run also, and your current process also. Okay, the next question is, bro, please help. I did everything you said, but showing 404 error for my Express app. So this question is on the Cyber Panel plus Express app deployment, right? Um, the thing is, when you do deployment on the cyber panel, check all steps in the video correctly. People usually check only a few steps in the cyber panel, like how I'm installing, how I'm pasting the code, and how I'm adding the configuration. That's it. They don't change in between. Like I explain a lot of details in between, right? Like in the express video, I remember that in the cyber panel we need to add one plugin, not a plugin, but executable there, right? So yeah, you might be missing that particular executable. So first add that, then do the node.js deployment, and then do the express.js proxy, right? So it is nothing but the proxy only, express.js. And if it is that not working, then the last option would be deploying the Docker, brother. Deploying the Docker, reverse proxy the connection with the cyber panel, and express with the open light speed. That's the simple setup you can ever do. Okay, so and by the way, this applies to all of the React.js, Next.js, and Express.js deployments on the Cyberpunk. Okay, next question. It is on the enumeration video. He's saying make a video about PWA phishing. First of all, I didn't get what is PWA. It might be password, it might be some kind of PWA platform, or I don't know. Like there are a lot of stuff about the PWA, right? So yeah, please mention something around it, so that it will be helpful to me understand also, because I cannot just create videos out of the thin air. I have my own stuff also. I need to do my own research also. I need to do my own testing also before putting something in your front, right? So yeah, I do probably a lot of testing before putting on the YouTube. So make sure that you are giving me proper context, brothers. Otherwise, how can I understand? And by the way, the phishing is illegal. Don't I cannot just go rogue and create the video on any platform. I only use my websites for the demonstration, right? So yeah, keeping that in mind. Okay, so next and probably the last question. If two guys are watching there, I'll request them, please, you can put your questions there if there are any. Otherwise, I'll just take this last question and I'll just end the stream. So the question is, so basically he's asking how we can do CI/CD deployment using Docker plus Next.js plus Nginx. Okay, so the thing is, there are two ways. Either you can use any third party software or you can do natively. So I prefer the native method. What you can do is you can create the workflow file on your, first of all, use the GitHub to push your code on the GitHub, to maintain your code on the GitHub. It is easier to use the GitHub. And on the GitHub, create a workflow file to automatically on the push or on the commit or on the creating a new version. It will basically log in into the SSH into your server. It will build the Docker file, it will deploy the Docker file and remove the old Docker container, right? So all of this code you need to write in the workflow file. If you don't know how to, please let me know. I will record one video around it. But once that is done, then you are ready to go. And as long as the Nginx concerned, Nginx is a nothing but the reverse proxy connection only. So there is nothing to do with the CI/CD and Nginx. Your Nginx will be one-time setup, and once the CI/CD is done, yeah, you will be done. The only thing you should be concerning about the GitHub and the Docker and the key creations, right? I cannot just explain everything on this particular like video in the live because that requires the little bit checking into the practical to make that possible. Okay, and there is a one more question. Why don't you create this series on web pen testing and bug bounty? Actually, I am creating a series on bug bounty, but the thing is, y- out of the YouTube, I don't earn anything. So it is really hard to stay motivated and post the video each and every day, right? So that's the problem with me. But still, I try to stay motivated. And if you guys comment and ask for something, I just record it. Like a few, like today only, I saw one comment from, I think, uh, TT Soul or something. So that guy was asking me consistency is the key and that shit. So I knew that he's following me along with my series. So I must upload something because that guy is waiting for me. So I created one video and uploaded it, right? So that's a driving factor there. So comment and I will record and upload the videos, right? So yeah, so that's all about the questions that I can pick from the comments, the popular questions, not all the questions, because in the comment we get a lot of useless stuff also. So yeah, that's all about it. And I think I have done pretty much everything in this particular stream. So why not just end this stream, right? So yeah. So next time, please do one thing. If you are watching this particular stream, make sure that if you have any doubt, please save for the stream and you can ask in the chat. I know not lot of people are watching, but yeah, I'll be streaming now consistently. So it's better to put the questions in the stream so that I will be able to answer those questions. And of course, it is like a face-to-face consultation where you will be getting answers face-to-face. So if you have any doubt, you can just ask it, right? So yeah, that's all about this particular stream. And probably thanks for watching and see you in the next stream, right? So yeah, where is my end screen for this stream. Let me check, and bye bye.